Hello da Tangam, welcome to Gully Classroom. This is the fourth lecture. In which chapter, sir? In the chapter Metals and Non-Metals. In CBSE 10th Standard Chemistry, Science Book Chapter 3, Metals and Non-Metals. This is the fourth lecture that is taken in English. This is the fourth lecture that is taken in English. Okay, sir. Is there a Tamil version of the same lecture available? Absolutely, Tangam. You can check the playlist for the same version of the lecture that is taken in Tamil. This is the English edition of this fourth lecture. The same lecture is also taken in Tamil, which you can find it in the playlist. Okay, sir. Okay, sir. Before starting this lecture, kindly recollect what we have already learned in the first three lectures, sir. Tanga, in the first three lectures, this is what we studied. First, we introduced metals and non-metals. So, we came to know about what are metals, we came to know about what are non-metals, what are the physical properties of metals, what are the physical properties of non-metals, what are the chemical properties of metals, how do metals react with oxygen, how do metals react with water, how do metals react with dilute acids, how do metals react with other metal salts. Then we studied about the chemical properties of non-metals, how do non-metals react with oxygen, and we saw the reason why. Let me repeat, and we saw the reason why non-metals do not react with water and dilute acids. Non-metals do not react with water and dilute acids. What next is we also studied how non-metals react with hydrogen, how non-metallic oxides, not non-metals but non-metallic oxides react with water. Okay, sir. We have studied about the chemical properties of metals and the chemical properties of non-metals. What are we going to study in this particular lecture? In this particular lecture, we will do a very short recollection of the chemical properties of metals and non-metals. We will try to put them as differences. What next, sir? We will see how metals and non-metals join with each other in order to form ionic or electrovalent bond. We will study how to write the formula for ionic and electrovalent compound. A compound with the ionic bond is obviously called as ionic compound. A compound with an electrovalent bond is obviously called as electrovalent compound. We will study the formation of such compounds, and also we will look at the physical properties of ionic compounds. That will be the last topic of this particular lecture. Physical properties of ionic compounds. Okay, sir. Okay, sir. Without wasting time, do start the differences in chemical properties of metals and non-metals. It starts with a very simple idea. Metals lose electron in order to attain noble gas configuration. Because they are losing electrons, they are forming positive metal ions. They are electropositive in nature. Sir, do work out an example. Okay, that is fine. Let us take a very famous metal which is sodium, atomic number 11. The electronic configuration of sodium is 2,8,1. This one electron can be lost by sodium in order to form a positive metal ion, which will have a noble gas configuration of neon, which is 2,8. Okay, because it is losing one electron, it will have a positive charge over here because sodium has 11 positively charged protons and 11 negatively charged electrons. We are losing one electron. Sodium is losing one electron right over here. So, we are getting a positively charged sodium ion plus an electron. Okay, sir. Okay, sir. What about non-metals? Non-metals are gaining electron in order to attain noble gas configuration. Because they are gaining electron, they are becoming negatively charged, hence they are electronegative in nature. Let us take an example of chlorine, atomic number 17, 2, 8, 7. Here I am going to add one electron to chlorine, so that chlorine in this particular outermost shell, in this particular valence shell, will get a completely filled shell, which will be Cl minus 2, 8, 8 argon configuration. So this is basically your non-metal. A non-metal gains electron in order to attain noble gas configuration. A metal loses electron in order to attain noble gas configuration. Because metals are losing electrons, they are electropositive. They are electropositive. Because non-metals are gaining electrons, they are electronegative. They are electronegative. Okay, sir. I am comfortable with the initial idea. Now, you have given that metals are good reducing agents and non-metals are good oxidizing agent. Please illustrate this with a couple of examples. Absolutely, Thangam. Let us look here. Let me write something totally interesting. OIL, RIG. Sir, what is the meaning of this oil rig? You can use this term in order to remember. Oxidation is loss of electrons. Electrons are being lost. Reduction is gain of electrons. Electrons are being gained. So oxidation is loss of electrons. OIL, oil. Reduction is gain of electrons. RIG, rig. This is a shortcut in order to remember what is oxidation and reduction. Sir, but in the first chapter, I learned that addition of oxygen is oxidation. Removal of hydrogen is oxidation. Also, reduction means addition of hydrogen is reduction. Removal of oxygen is also reduction. But that is the twist here. Kindly listen to me over here. Reduction is basically two things, which is addition of hydrogen can also be called as reduction. Removal of oxygen can also be called as reduction. In the same way, what about oxidation, sir? Oxidation means addition of oxygen is also called as oxidation. Removal of hydrogen is also called as oxidation. Removal of hydrogen is also called as oxidation. That is fine, sir. But how am I supposed to understand that reduction is gain of electrons and oxidation is loss of electrons? The simple idea is, whenever oxidation is happening, whenever oxygen is being added or hydrogen is being taken away, there is loss of electrons. Hence, oxidation is loss of electrons. Once more, in reduction, whenever hydrogen is being added or oxygen is being removed, there is a gain of electrons. So, reduction is gain of electrons. Both addition of oxygen and removal of hydrogen can be interpreted with respect to the electrons which are in the system. Once more, let me repeat myself. OIL, RIG. Oxidation is loss of electrons. RIG. Reduction is gain of electrons. So, addition of hydrogen and removal of oxygen. Addition of hydrogen and removal of oxygen involves gain of electrons. So, both of them are called as reduction. In the same way, addition of oxygen and removal of hydrogen both involve loss of electrons. So, automatically they are called as oxidation. In fact, what is oxidation? Oxidation means loss of electrons. Oxidation means somebody is losing electrons. Oxidation means somebody is losing electrons. So, let us say somebody is losing electrons. So, somebody, a robber, somebody is losing electrons. So, a robber must go and steal electrons from them in order for them to lose electrons. Somebody is losing electrons. So, a robber must go and steal the electrons from them in order for them to lose their electrons. So, this robber is nothing but your non-metal. Here, let us say there is someone who wants to lose electrons, who wants to get oxidized. What is happening? A non-metal which is electronegative is going and stealing electrons from somebody who wants to lose electrons. So, this non-metal, because it is helping in loss of electrons, because it is helping in oxidation, which is basically loss of electrons, This non-metal is called as oxidizing agent. This non-metal is called as oxidizing agent. Okay sir, okay sir. Are you able to understand why I have written a good oxidizing agent over here at non-metals, over here at non-metals? Yes sir, now I am comfortable. Now let us try to understand why metals are called as good reducing agents. First, what is reduction? Sir, RIG, reduction is gain of electrons. Okay, if somebody wants to get reduced, they want to gain electrons. If somebody wants to get reduced, they want to gain electrons. So somebody must give electrons to them for them to get reduced. They need electrons. So what will happen? The metal will come and give electrons. Why metals are electropositive? They always like to give electrons to others. So this metal will come and give electrons. Here this somebody will gain the electrons and reduce itself. So this metal, because it is providing electrons for the somebody to get reduced, this metal is called as a good reducing agent. So in summary, metals are good reducing agents because they provide electrons for the reduction of someone. What is reduction? Addition of electrons, gain of electrons. Fine. Why is non-metal a good oxidizing agent? Non-metals are good oxidizing agents because what do? They steal electrons from someone. They help someone to lose their electrons. Loss of electrons is oxidation. So non-metals, because they steal electrons from someone and help for them to lose their electrons and help them to lose their electrons. Non-metal, what does it do? Non-metals steal electron, help somebody to lose their electrons, help somebody to get oxidized. Hence non-metals is called as oxidizing agent. That is fine sir, that is fine sir. Do metals react with oxygen? Yes, metals react with oxygen to form basic oxides. All metallic oxides are basic in nature. Sir, how am I supposed to remember that all metallic oxides are basic in nature? Write M like this. If you are going to put this M in this fashion, you will get a B. So all metallic oxides are basic in nature. Okay sir, okay sir. What about non-metallic oxides? All non-metallic oxides are acidic in nature. Why all non-metallic oxides are acidic in nature, sir? How am I supposed to remember that? It's very easy. You can simply convert this N into a by adding a small line over here. So non-metallic oxides are acidic in nature. Non-metallic oxides are acidic in nature. That is fine, that is fine. So metals react with oxygen to form metallic oxides which are basic in nature, which can be mixed with water in order to form bases. In a similar way, non-metals react with oxygen in order to form acidic oxides. This acidic oxide dissolves in water in order to form acids. Non-metals react with oxygen to form non-metallic oxides. All non-metallic oxides are obviously acidic in nature and they are mixing with water in order to form acids. Fine. What next, sir? Metals react with water as well as dilute acids to produce hydrogen gas. But non-metals do not react with water. Non-metals do not react with water. Non-metals do not react with dilute acids to produce hydrogen gas. So hydrogen gas is also not produced because non-metals are not reacting with water and dilute acids. Finally, metals do not react with hydrogen. Metals do not react with hydrogen, but non-metals react with hydrogen so that they will form hydrates. Okay sir. Let me ask you an interesting question. Please do ask Tango. Sir, here you are having a Na plus sodium ion. Okay. Here you are having a Cl minus chloride ion. Won't this positive ion and this negative ion attract one another? Won't they combine together? Okay, they will combine together. Do you want to see what is happening via a nice illustration? Please do so, sir. Do the illustration. Okay, let us take Na atom. Na atom has one electron in its outermost shell. I am going to put the one electron as a dot. Okay, sir. What next? Next is I am going to take Cl minus. Okay, I am going to take Cl. Cl has 7 electrons in its outermost shell. I am going to put 7 electrons in the outermost shell. Now what is happening? This Cl is trying to take this 1 electron supplied by the sodium over here and forms 2, 8, 8. What configuration? Argon configuration. This sodium is trying to lose the outermost electron and forming noble gas configuration, which is neon configuration. Because sodium is losing electrons, it is forming Na plus. What about this, sir? Chlorine is gaining electrons. You are forming Cl minus. Okay, sir. Okay, sir. That is fine. What next? This Na plus and Cl minus, oppositely charged particles attract each other. Sir, we have learned this already in our lower classes. Yes, Tangam, we have learned this in our lower classes. Sodium ion, which is your cation, positive cation and negative anion. Here, let me write it up. Positive cation and negative anion. Positive cation and negative anion are attracted to one another. Sir, how am I supposed to remember that cation is positive and anion is negative? If you have a cat in your home, you will always have a lot of fun. It will spread a lot of positive energy. So, cations are positive. Sir, how am I supposed to remember anions are negative? You know something? I had a primary school teacher who was called as Annie Miss. Okay, what is the speciality of this Annie Miss, sir? She had this habit. Whenever she will come into the class, she will first call up my name, Muthukumar, and she will simply scold me. For what reason, sir? For whatever reason that comes to her mind, she will simply scold me and then only she will start the class. So, dedicated to her name, I have named all negative ions as anions. I have named all negative ions as anions. Okay, okay. So, Na and Cl, they are attracted to each other and they form NaCl, sodium chloride, which is other name for common salt, which is the other name for common salt. This is basically how you will do the diagram of combination of metals and non-metals. The metal loses its electron to the non-metal. Metal becomes electropositive. Non-metal gains electron, becomes electronegative. The positive cation and negative anion attract each other and they form a compound. Such a bond is called as ionic or electrovalent bond. Such a compound is called as ionic or electrovalent compound. Such a bond is called as ionic or electrovalent bond. Such a compound is called as ionic or electrovalent compound. Awesome, sir. Awesome, sir. Now, give us another example. Give us another example. Okay, let me give you another example. Here I have drawn how NaCl is being formed. Now let us go for formation of LiCl. What is LiCl? LiCl means lithium chloride. LiCl means lithium chloride. Okay, what is the atomic number of Li? Atomic number of Li is 3. The electronic configuration is 2, 1. This 1 electron will be lost because it is a metal. It wants to lose this 1 electron and attain helium configuration. So it is losing an electron. What will happen with respect to chlorine? Once more, chlorine. Atomic number 17, electronic configuration 2, 8, 7. It will want to gain this 1 electron over here so that it will attain 2, 8, 8, which is argon configuration. That is fine, sir. That is fine. Now, what will happen between this Li plus? Why are you putting plus over here, sir? I am putting a plus over here because here lithium is losing 1 electron in order to attain what configuration? Just 2, which is the first shell, helium configuration. Okay, sir. Okay, sir. Now, let us combine lithium and chlorine just like we did sodium and chlorine over here. Let me put lithium over here. Okay, so lithium, the configuration is 2, 1. There is 1 extra electron. The 1 electron in the outermost shell. It has one valence electron. You are putting it with chlorine. Chlorine has a total valence electron of 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, let me put one electron over here. 7. What is happening next? Lithium is losing this one electron to chlorine for chlorine to attain noble gas configuration of argon. Now what is happening here? Because La is losing electron, it is becoming La plus. Chlorine is gaining an electron, it is becoming Cl minus. So this is basically a positive cation and negative cation. They attract each other. So this is lithium chloride. Lithium chloride can simply be written as LiCl. Fine sir, fine sir. I am now comfortable with how NaCl and LiCl are being formed. Can you give me some other really nice examples? Obviously, Tama. Can I rub this off? Please do so. Have you noted this down? Okay, okay. Let me rub this off. Let me rub this off. Okay, sir. What next? What next? For the next electrovalent compound, let us go for calcium oxide. Let us go for calcium oxide. Sir, what is the formula for calcium oxide? I also don't know. So how are you going to teach me, sir? I am going to analyze the electronic structure of calcium and oxygen and then decide what kind of an electrovalent compound calcium and oxygen are forming. Let us first take calcium. What is the atomic number of calcium? 20. What is the electronic configuration of calcium? 2, 8, 8, 2. How many valence electrons does calcium have? Calcium has just 2 valence electrons. Okay, these 2 valence electrons will be lost by calcium. It is forming Ca2 plus 2 electrons. That is fine. What next? Let us take oxygen. Oxygen, what is the atomic number of oxygen? 8. Electronic configuration is 2, 6. Now, what is happening? Oxygen needs 2 more electrons in order to attain noble gas configuration. It needs 2 electrons. So, what are you going to do? These 2 electrons can be added over here. The 2 electrons lost by the calcium in order to attain noble gas configuration are in fact taken up by oxygen, which wants to attain the noble gas configuration of what is 2, 8 neon configuration. So calcium over here, it is attaining 2, 8, 8, which is argon configuration. Oxygen over here is attaining 2, 8, which is neon configuration. Because it is gaining 2 electrons, I am putting 2 minus over here. Okay, sir. Now I am able to understand how calcium ion and oxide ion. What is the name of this ion? How calcium ion and oxide ion are being formed. Try to tell me please how these two will combine in order to form calcium oxide. Kandipa Tangam, obviously. Come on guys, I will help you out. So calcium, its valence shell contains exactly 2 electrons. Its valence shell contains exactly 2 electrons. Plus, what about oxygen? Oxygen, it contains 6 electrons. Let us put 6 electrons over here. So now what is happening? This particular electron goes over here. This particular electron goes over here. Calcium is losing 2 electrons. Oxygen is gaining 2 electrons. So what is happening? Since calcium is losing 2 electrons, you are getting Ca2 plus. Oxygen is gaining 2 electrons, you are getting 2 minus. So the name of the compound is CaO. The name of the compound is CaO. That is fine, sir. That is fine, sir. Calcium oxide, CaO. What is the next compound that you want to teach me, sir? First, let us write the name, Tangon. Let us write the name of calcium oxide. Now, what is the name of the next compound? Magnesium oxide. Magnesium oxide will form a something similar compound with a similar diagram. Anyway, let me do a very fast diagram of magnesium oxide. Magnesium. What is the atomic number of magnesium? Atomic number of magnesium is 12. The electronic configuration is 2, 8, 2. That is fine. Now magnesium is losing 2 electrons. So 2 electrons plus Mg. Because it has lost 2 electrons, you can simply write 2 plus. It has attained 2, 8, which is neon configuration. What about oxygen? Oxygen will do whatever it is doing here, the same reaction will repeat over here. The same reaction will repeat over here. Oxygen, atomic number is 8. It has 2,6 electronic configuration. What it will do? It will take these two electrons, combine with them and form O2 minus, which is in fact oxide ion, Repeat this particular equation right over here. What next, sir? The next is very easy. Once more, let us go for magnesium. How many electrons does magnesium have in its valence shell? It has 2 electrons. Put 2 electrons over here. Add it with oxygen. How many electrons does oxygen have in its valence shell? It has 6 electrons. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. What next? The next thing is very simple. How, sir? This one electron is sent over here because magnesium is a metal. It wants to lose electrons. It becomes electropositive. So it loses 2 electrons. Oxygen is a non-metal. It wants to gain electrons in order to attain noble gas configuration. So it is electronegative. That is fine, sir. That is fine, sir. So magnesium and oxygen combine with one another and they form magnesium oxide Mg2 plus and O2 minus. Mg2 plus and O2 minus. We can simply write this compound as MgO, which is magnesium oxide. Okay, sir. I am fine with this. Now I want a slightly tougher diagram. How about drawing magnesium chloride? Okay, Tanga. Okay, I will match you and raise the stakes. I am going to draw not just magnesium chloride but also calcium chloride. I am going to draw not just magnesium chloride but I will also draw calcium chloride. Yeah? Okay, sir. Please do it in a very paced, comfortable manner. Absolutely, Tanga. Absolutely. Yeah, let us start drawing magnesium chloride. Let us take magnesium. What is the atomic number of magnesium? 12. What is the electronic configuration of magnesium? 2, 8, 2. Okay, sir. What does magnesium do? Magnesium loses these 2 electrons so that you will get Mg2 plus magnesium ion. Fine. What about chlorine, sir? Okay, so chlorine atomic number is 17, 2, 8, 7. It gains an electron. Where does it gain an electron from? From somewhere. Right now I am not bothered. It gains an electron so that it forms Cl minus, which is chloride ion. The electronic configuration of chloride ion is nothing but, because it is gaining an electron, you will get 2, 8, 8, which is in fact argon configuration. Okay, sir. Now, let me ask you something totally interesting. Here, magnesium is losing 2 electrons. Yes, sir. But here there is only one chlorine. Chlorine has the capacity to only take 1 electron. So, how will chlorine accommodate these 2 electrons? The simple idea is, we are going to have 2 chlorines. Because there are 2 chlorines, it can accommodate 2 electrons. Because it is accommodating 2 electrons, it will form 2 chloride ions. Are you able to understand this particular idea? Absolutely, sir. Thanks, Tanga. Come on. Now, let us try to draw magnesium. What is the valence number of electrons in magnesium? 2. Okay, let me put it with chlorine. What is the valence number of electrons in chlorine? Chlorine has 7 valence electrons. Let me draw them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. But here there are 2 chlorines because magnesium has 2 electrons. 1 chlorine can take only 1 electron. So I am going to get another 7 electrons over here. What next, sir? This electron from magnesium will go over here. This electron from magnesium will go over here. And 2 chlorines will gain each an electron from magnesium, from the same magnesium. And then what will happen? You will get Mg, which is 2 plus, because it is losing 2 electrons. Cl, which is simply 1 minus. Why, sir? Because each chlorine is gaining only 1 electron, but there are 2 chlorines available. So the formula for magnesium chloride is MgCl2. The formula for magnesium chloride is MgCl2. Okay, sir. I am comfortable with magnesium chloride diagram. Also do draw calcium chloride. Absolutely, Sami. Let us draw calcium. Atomic number of calcium is 20. So 2, 8, 8, 2. It has 2 valence electrons in its outermost shell. So it will lose these 2 electrons in order to form Ca2 plus ion, which is your calcium ion. What next? The next is chlorine. The chlorine, we are going to do the same thing with respect to chlorine. How? Here there is chlorine. The atomic number is 17. Electronic configuration is 2, 8, 7. The chlorine is going to gain 1 electron, so that this particular shell will be completely filled. You will get Cl minus 2, 8, 8, which is your argon configuration. But here calcium is losing 2 electrons, but chlorine is gaining only 1 electrons. So how is chlorine going to accommodate the 2 electrons lost by calcium? Simple idea. Let us take 2 chlorines. So here there will be 2 chlorines. Because 2 chlorines are there, you need 2 electrons. These 2 electrons are accommodated over here. Because 2 chlorine atoms are combining with 2 electrons, you are going to get 2 chloride, CHLORID, 2 chloride ions. Okay sir, I am comfortable with this. Now what are you going to do? Sir, I am going to draw such a diagram over here. There is calcium. The outermost shell of calcium has how many electrons? 2 electrons. I am going to put it with chlorine. Because there are 2 chlorine over here, I am putting 2 chlorine over here. Each chlorine has 7 electrons in its valence shell. Each chlorine has 7 electrons in its valence shell. So let me first draw 7 electrons in the valence shell of each chlorine. Now what is happening? This particular electron of calcium will be sent over here. This particular electron of calcium will be sent over here. And what next? Because calcium is losing 2 electrons, I am simply going to write Ca2 plus. And because there are 2 Cl minus ions, I am going to put as Cl minus 2. So I am going to get a formula for calcium chloride as CaCl2. I am going to get a formula for calcium chloride as CaCl2. Awesome sir, awesome sir. Now I am comfortable with drawing ionic bonds for different structures. But anyway, let us do one final ionic bond diagram. Which one sir? Aluminium chloride. Why sir? Aluminium chloride will be slightly different than whatever we have seen until this point. Why sir? You will see when I am drawing. You will simply see when I am drawing. Okay, what is the atomic number of aluminium? Sir, the atomic number of aluminium I think is 13. So, aluminium atomic number 13, electronic configuration 2, 8, 3. Aluminium will lose these 3 electrons present in the valence shell in order to form aluminium 3 plus ion. What about chlorine? Chlorine atomic number is 17, 2, 8, 7. It will gain 1 electron in order to form a Cl minus 2, 8, 8 argon configuration, which is your chloride ion. Fine sir. Now let me ask you a question. How does this chlorine accommodate the 3 electrons that are sent out by the aluminium? Simple sir. Let us take 3 chlorine atoms. Each chlorine atom will accommodate 1 electron. So 3 chlorine atoms will accommodate 3 electrons and form 3 chloride ions. Okay, let us draw the complete diagram now. So I am going to draw the aluminium. The outermost shell of aluminium has just 3 electrons. Let me draw 3 electrons over here. Okay, I am having 3 chlorine atoms over here. So I am going to draw 3 chlorine atoms. This is the first one, this is the second one, this is the third one. These are all chlorine atoms. What next is sir? Each chlorine atom in its valence shell has a total of 7 electrons. Okay, so let me draw 7 electrons for each chlorine atom. Now, from aluminium, 1 electron is sent to each chlorine atom. From the metal aluminium atom, each non-metal atom is sent 1 electron. So what is happening here? Because aluminium is losing 3 electrons, you are getting Al3 plus, and chlorine, it is simply each chlorine is gaining only 1 electron, but there are 3 chlorine, so you have AlCl3. The formula for aluminium chloride is AlCl3. Are you comfortable with how I am drawing the formula for different electrovalent compounds? Absolutely sir. I am of course comfortable. Okay Tango, have you noted this down? Yes sir. Now let me ask you something interesting. Ionic compounds, you have just written here, ionic compounds do not exist as discrete molecules, but they exist as aggregates of oppositely charged ions. How am I supposed to understand this? Discrete means separately. Here the understanding of the word discrete means separately. If ionic compounds are not going to exist separately, how are ionic compounds going to exist? There is a easy diagram in order to understand this statement. Let me draw this diagram. Let us say here there is an Na plus ion. Okay sir. Here there is a Cl minus ion. So this is a molecule of common salt NaCl. NaCl. And this NaCl or common salt is a very good example of a simple electrovalent or ionic compound. There is one NaCl here. Yes sir. Now what will happen? Because this Na is positive. Because this Na is positive. Na will immediately attract Cl to its side. Na will immediately attract Cl to its side. On what sides? On all sides obviously. So here there will be a Cl. Here there will be a Cl. Here there will be a Cl. Na, what will it do? Because it is positive in nature, it will immediately attract Cl to all its four sides. Okay, then what will this particular Cl do? This particular Cl, what it will do? Each and every Cl, in fact, will attract another Na to its side. Each and every Cl will attract another Na to its side. Yeah, here there will be a Na. Here there will be a Na. Okay, what will happen next sir? The next thing is each and every Na will attract a Cl to its side. Each and every Na will attract a Cl to its side. So it will form like a tapestry. It will form like a tapestry of sorts. If you look at this, what are you getting here? You are getting a chessboard like structure between the black sodium plus ion and the red and the red Cl minus ion and the red Cl minus ion. Aren't you getting a tapestry? Aren't you getting a chessboard like structure? Black, white, black, white, black, white. In the sense I am referring to red as white. So red, black, red, black, red, black, black, red, black, red, black, red. So you are getting a tapestry like structure. Such a structure is called as an aggregate structure of oppositely charged ions. Structure is called as an aggregate structure of oppositely charged ions because chlorine is negatively charged, sodium is positively charged. No sodium chloride molecule exists simply like this. It always exists as a 3D structure. It will always exist as a crystal structure. Are you able to understand how NaCl is existing? An aggregate structure of Na plus and Cl minus ions. An aggregate structure of Na plus and Cl minus ions. Okay sir, okay sir. Now kindly teach me about electrovalency. What is the idea of electrovalency? Electrovalency is a simple idea. In case of a metal, the total number of electrons lost, or in case of a non-metal, the total number of electrons gained to attain noble gas configuration and form a stable ion is electrovalency. Let us do a couple of examples in order to have a better understanding. Let us take some nice examples. Let us take sodium, which is a very good example, fluorine, and let us take magnesium. That is also a very good example. Let us take calcium and let us take oxygen. Also you will take aluminum. These are very good examples. Let us see what is their oxidation state. Sodium, atomic number 11, electronic configuration 2, 8, 1. It is losing 1 electron, so plus 1. Fluorine, atomic number is 9, 2, 7 is its electronic configuration, so it gains 1 electron, F minus. In a similar way, Cl, what is Cl? Atomic number is 17, 2, 8, 7. It is gaining 1 electron, so it is Cl minus. So it is Cl minus. In each and every one of these conditions, we are seeing that sodium is losing just 1 electron to gain noble gas configuration. Fluorine and chlorine are gaining 1 electron to attain noble gas configuration. But here the idea is only 1 electron is lost in case of a metal. Only one electron is gained in case of a non-metal. For attaining noble gas configuration, this is called as electrovalency. So all these are good examples of monovalent elements. Na plus Cl minus F minus are good examples of monovalent elements. What about divalent elements? Divalent elements in case of metals must lose 2 electrons. In case of non-metals must gain 2 electrons. So here for magnesium, atomic number 12, 2, 8, 2, 2, 8, 2. What is happening? Here these 2 electrons must be lost. So magnesium will automatically become 2 plus. What about calcium? The atomic number of calcium is 20. Electronic configuration is 2, 8, 2, and these 2 electrons must be lost. So you are going to get Ca2 plus. What about oxygen? Atomic number of oxygen is 8. Electronic configuration is 2, 6. It gains simply 2 electrons. It gains simply 2 electrons in order to attain noble gas configuration. So what is happening? Oxygen is getting 2 minus. Similarly for sulfur. What about sulfur? Atomic number is 16. 2, 8, 6. It also needs 2 more electrons to attain 2, 8, 8, which is argon configuration. So sulfur is also going to be 2 minus. What about beryllium? Beryllium is atomic number is 4, 2, 2. These 2 electrons must be lost in order to attain noble gas configuration of helium. So beryllium is going to become 2 plus. All these are divalent elements because in case of metals they are losing 2 electrons. In case of non-metals they are gaining 2 electrons. Fine sir, fine sir. What about trivalent elements? The simple idea about trivalent elements is in case of metals they will lose 3 electrons. In case of non-metals they will gain 3 electrons in order to attain noble gas configuration. What about aluminium? Atomic number is 13, 2, 8, 3. So it loses 3 electrons. So you are getting Al3 plus. What about boron? The atomic number of boron is 5, which is simply 2, 3. It will lose 3 electrons. So boron is also 3 plus. What about phosphorus? For phosphorus the atomic number is 15, 2, 8, 5. Am I doing this right? Yes. 2, 8, 5. So it will gain 3 electrons. Phosphorus will gain 3 electrons to attain noble gas configuration. Because it is gaining electrons, it is obviously a electronegative non-metal. So I am going to put 3 minus over here. Aluminium, boron and phosphorus are all trivalent elements because in case of metals a trivalent element loses 3 electrons. In case of non-metals a trivalent element gains 3 electrons. Fine sir, fine sir, fine sir. Now I am comfortable with the idea of electrovalency. Now let us go for the last topic of today's this particular lecture. Which one? Physical properties of ionic compounds. Okay, Tango, let us go for the physical properties of ionic compounds. What are the physical properties of ionic compounds? Ionic compounds are made up of positive cations and negative anions. Okay, they are arranged in a 3-dimensional structure. Sir, I am not able to understand the idea of 3-dimensional structure. Please help me out. It's very easy. Let us say I am a Na plus ion. Tangam, kindly listen here. Let us say I am a Na plus ion. Okay. Now what is happening, sir? This Na plus ion will attract a Cl minus ion over here, a Cl minus ion over here, a Cl minus ion over here, and a Cl minus ion towards my back. So in all the 4 directions I will have Cl minus ion, but that is not going to be enough for me. What will I do? I will attract a Cl minus ion from the top, I will attract a Cl minus ion from the bottom. So each Na plus ion will be surrounded by 6 Cl minus ions. In a similar way, let us assume that I am a Cl minus chloride ion. How many Na plus ions will be surrounding me? Let us say I am a Cl minus ion. So I will have a Na plus ion over here. I will have a Na plus ion over here. I will have a Na plus ion over here. Towards my back, I will have a Na plus ion. Towards my top, I will have a Na plus ion. Towards my bottom, I will have a Na plus ion. So each Cl minus ion will be surrounded by 6 Na plus ions. After looking at this, you might ask me that, sir, right over here each Na plus ion is surrounded by just 4 Cl minus ion. How am I supposed to interpret this? The idea is simple. You are seeing this as a planar structure. You are seeing this diagram on the board. So, if there is a Na plus over here, there will be a Cl minus in front of the board. Also, there will be a Cl minus towards the back of the board. You are not going to be able to visualize this in a planar diagram. Each Na plus ion is surrounded by 1, 2, 3, 4. Also 1 in front of, 1 towards the back of. So a total of 6 Cl minus ion, and each Cl minus ion will be surrounded by 6 Na plus ion. This is basically a 3-dimensional definite structure. They form crystals. These ionic compounds are brittle in nature. They will break they will be they can be crushed, they will be brittle in nature, but they are also hard and crystalline. Brittle, hard and crystalline in nature. They have a very strong force of attraction between the positive ions and negative ions. You need to give a lot of heat energy. To break this interionic attraction. These ions, in between them, what is the meaning of the word inter? Wherever the word inter is coming, it means in between. So in between Na plus and Cl minus, there is a very strong force of interionic attraction. So you need to give a lot of energy to break this very strong interionic attraction. Hence, these ionic compounds have very high melting point and very high boiling point. These ionic compounds have very high melting point and very high boiling point because a large amount of energy is required to break the interionic attraction between the positive cations and negative anions. Okay, sir, that is fine. What next? These ionic compounds are polar in nature. What is meant by polar? Polar means simply there is both positive ion and negative ion right over here. Polar means there is simply positive ion and negative ion right over here. So, the polar compounds are polar in nature, and these polar compounds will be dissolved in water. Why, sir? Because water is an polar compound. Water is an ionic compound. How, sir? A water molecule exists as 2 poles, OH minus and H plus. A water molecule usually exists as 2 poles, OH minus and H plus, because water exists as polar molecule. It also dissolves polar compounds. Like. So polar compounds, ionic compounds, electrovalent compounds are soluble in polar solvents, which is basically water, but they are not soluble in non-polar solvents, which are organic compounds, which we will learn about in carbon and its compounds. All the compounds that are formed with the help of carbon are called as carbon compounds or organic compounds. Good examples are benzene, ether, petrol and kerosene. Okay, sir. This particular structure where Na plus and Cl minus occupy a definite fixed position do not conduct electricity. Why? Because for the conduction of electricity, charged particles need to move. Here, these charged particles, ionic compound like NaCl does have a lot of charged particles, but the charged particles in NaCl are holding definite structure and they are not moving. So how am I supposed to move these charged particles? How am I supposed to make this electrovalent or ionic compounds conduct electricity? The simple idea is you can dissolve them in water. When you add water to the polar compounds, these ions, the structure gets broken, the fixed structure gets broken. These charged particles are allowed to move freely. Hence, NaCl or any ionic compounds for that matter conduct electricity when they are mixed in water, because water breaks apart the definite structure held by Na plus and Cl minus ion. Water allows the free movement of charged particles in dissolved ionic compounds. In the same way, you can also heat this particular compound. What will happen? When you are heating this compound, this heat energy will break this structure, and because the Na plus ion and Cl minus ion are free to move in molten state, a molten compound of NaCl or a molten compound of any ionic bond, a molten ionic compound, any ionic compound will always conduct electricity, because the heat energy given while melting that particular ionic compound has broken the definite structure in that particular crystal, and the charged particles are free to move. When charged particles are free to move, electricity can easily be conducted. Ionic compounds conduct electricity when in aqueous solution, which means when mixed with water, or in molten state, because in both these cases crystal structure of this compound gets broken down and the ions become free to move, and this helps electricity to flow, because electricity flow needs movement of charged particles. But a solid electrovalent compound, a solid ionic compound will not conduct electricity, because the ions are held together in fixed positions and cannot move. That's basically the different physical properties of ionic compounds. So ionic compounds can conduct electricity, but when they are in aqueous solution or when they are in molten state, like dissolves, like ionic compounds are polar, so they dissolve in polar solvents. Also, they have very high melting point and very high boiling point, because the interionic forces of attraction between the positive cations and negative anions are very high. And that's basically the end of our lecture. I sincerely hope that you guys enjoyed our lecture. Yeah, if you guys like our lecture, obviously click the bell icon, subscribe to us first, click the bell icon, recommend our videos to your friends. Why, sir? Because we are going to have so much fun learning each and every subject to depth right here with me. What are the subjects, sir? Physics, chemistry, biology, mathematics. What else? We will also learn economics, political science, history, geography, and each and every language right here to excellent depth with me, Muthukumar, at Gully Classroom. Cheers guys, see you in the next lecture. Cheers guys, see you in the next lecture.